Hello guys, Malagant here. I wanted to talk about which class and which race you would like to pick when you're going for endgame healing in Elder Scrolls Online. And I should also say that these will be my opinions, and I'll be able to push you towards your decision about which class and what type of character you are going to be creating. But I won't be able to say that basically this is a lot better than that. But in most cases, there are two or maybe three options that are a lot better than the others. But over each other, I would say it depends on the content that is going to be playing, and it also depends on the player a lot, the play style. Um, like the simplest way to put it, if you want utility over basically burst healing, I would say Sorcerer is a better pick over the Templar. But if you want the most capability of healing, then Templar is probably better because it will be playing with 10 more skills over Sorcerer. It's that simple for healing, that is. Either way, before I jump in, I would like to say that in Elder Scrolls Online there's a soft cap, and the soft cap is basically when an attribute's reaching a point, let's say 100 magical regeneration you have, and it's soft capped there, then if you try to add 5 more, it's going to be 3 more because the game starts limiting you. That's what soft cap is. So what you want as a healer is at least soft cap magical regeneration at the end of the game, at least maximum mana soft cap also, and then I would go for maximum health all the way from that point. But you may want to go for more magical regeneration or more maximum magica, depends. If I am soft capped on the magical regeneration, which I should be, I would also change my rings and amulets. I think it's the enchantment to reduce the cost of the spells by an amount instead of the regeneration. So with that said, since the regeneration soft capping is so important, and I'll be playing because of that reason, I'll be playing light armor over medium and heavy, and I am valuing light armor over medium and heavy in almost all cases. There's so minimal cases, there are so minimal encounters that a heavy armor would be doing a little better than a light armor, and it would be taking more resources. And an example would be an unavoidable damage that you are going to take in an encounter that is dealing physical damage over something else. So that physical damage reduction goes through the armor, while heavy armor has more armor than light armor. So heavy armor is doing a little better in that encounter, but that is really, really rare. And I would say they're not going to be making such an encounter that the healers are going to be getting one shot either way. So that is unavoidable, it is. So races. So after saying that light armor is really important, the two nodes that you are taking that are really important. Well, there's a third one, but it's active, and I don't think anyone is going to be having. Well, it is kind of content dependent again. If there's so much magic damage going on, yeah, you might slot this, but other than that, it's kind of irrelevant. These two nodes are really important, and they're huge. So one of them is reduces magical cost of spells by 3% per piece of armor you have. So the more light armor you're equipped, the more reduction you're going to have, magical reduction. Increases base magical regeneration by 4% per light armor, again. So the more light armor you have, the more regeneration you have. What this is going to push you is basically it's going to push you to your soft cap so fast that you will be able to use enchantments on your rings and amulet, as I said, the reduction instead of the regeneration. In the case of your choosing, obviously. So light armor and those three nodes are going to be playing a huge role on your healing. About the ratio, I would say Breton and High Elf are the races that are stars in healing, and maybe a little Dark Elf, but in most cases, Breton and High Elf will be toe-to-toe. It depends on basically which one you would like to choose is basically depends on the player, and if you would like more reduction, it is Breton to go with. If you would like more recovery, magical recovery, during combat, it is the high elf. I have gone with high elf, but as I said, it's so minimal. High elf has spell charge, increases magical recovery while in combat by 9%, and Breton has magical mastery, reduces the magical cost of spells. These are the two uniques that they have over each other. So when you are picking Breton, you're giving away the magical regeneration in combat, and when you're picking High Elf, you're giving away the reduce of the cost. And this will be about the races, I suppose. I hope you will be able to pick your race, but as I said, I value these two over the others for sure for healing. Let's jump into Sorcerer and Templar discussion, because I think they're a lot better healers than the other two. So I'm valuing those two over the others for healing when it comes, and it's kind of obvious, I would say. So a Sorcerer is some type of a play style. In my opinion, Templar should be a better healer in most cases because it has a dedicated skill tree to its own that is 11. I'm not counting wrong, right? Okay, 10. 10 more abilities, basically, even though 4 of them are passives, towards healing. While Sorcerer has only the restoration staff, while Templar already has it. Now, you can make a Templar, and you should if you are going for maximum healing. You can make a Templar that has that is wielding a restoration staff, and it should be the case because the Restoration Master with 2 abilities is 5% increased healing. That might be a lifesaver anytime. And same goes for something like the Grand Healing, because this will be turning you mana if you force it towards that. This one. Yeah. So player gains 130 magicka for each ally that is affected. That's another insane ability. So basically, you should be playing with restoration stuff over the others if you're aiming for the top, I would say. And I would say Templar is in most cases a better and a little more efficient healer. That's the better way to put it, I would say, than Sorcerer. However, Sorcerer has some really cool tricks in his hand because of the class abilities. Now, if you're going to be playing Sorcerer over Templar, that depends on you really, and what you should be considering is in Stormcalling, increases magical regeneration. So this will be pushing you 10 more % easier to get the magical regeneration. However, in the case of you choosing light armor and then going for these ratios that we talked about, you will already be soft capped. So if you're a really min-maxer and going for a lot more than the soft cap, then this is a little better. I am just going to check really fast if I'm forgetting something. Yeah, there's the Bolt Escape, another utility spell that stuns everyone. Well, regardless, I don't think a healer is going to look for a stun in many encounters, but it will be looking for a teleport. Teleport is a utility spell. It's like a blink forward, and it might be playing a huge role, especially on PvP. On PvE, yeah, it depends on the encounter a little, but if you're a utility player and if you would value this over something like a burst heal that a Templar has, I would go for Sorcerer again. On Dark Magic, there's an interesting ability called Dark Exchange. Now, I never found the situation where I was stuck with no mana and I wanted to cast Dark Exchange. I wish I was a Sorcerer. I didn't really find myself in a situation like that so far, but given the encounter, you might really drain your mana, suck on it, and basically you go out of mana and then use Dark Exchange to recover your health and magic at the same time while draining your stamina by 20%, and that's absolutely nothing. This is not so good for PvP, I would say, but for PvE, this is a considerable spell. This is not the only reason that it is considerable. There's another reason. Take less damage while channeling, but deals damage when effect ends. This is interesting. What it does is basically there are phases on PvE content that deals massive amount of AoE damage to everyone or to a single target. Let's assume that it's a single target ability and it's coming towards you. You can activate this spell and take even less damage than you should have. That's another utility spell, and that's a huge role in my opinion. There was something else, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and this is the last one. It's another reduction for Magica, and this is global also, so it will reduce the Magica cost of your healing. And this is pretty huge. I would say the least important was the regeneration, and the other three is pretty good spells, and they're all utility. As I said, if you are some type of a utility player, if you like playmaking, so to say, I don't know if that would make any sense. And then Sorcerer is a little better pick. But you will be restricted with only 5 active abilities to heal with, and 5 passives of this. Now over to the Templar. It is a more common used healer, I would say. It has something like this one, which resurrection speed is 40% faster. That's insane. Templar has, you should check the other video that I made, Backlash. I'm not going to be focusing on it right now, but this is like mind-blowing also for a healer. Same goes for Eclipse and Binding Light. Those two are supportive spells also for a Templar healer, and they're really dependent on the encounter. They shouldn't be slotted all the time, but given the encounter, you may really change tides around. Other than that, Templars Healing, except the Rune of Focus, these healings are most of the time things like direct healing. If you're familiar with Paladin healing on World of Warcraft, it's a little close to that. It has really direct and huge heal spells, and you don't really need to target because Elder Scrolls, as you may know, it's playing on smart heals, so it is choosing its own targets. Other than that, I'm not going to say anything else. So you have your options to pick either a Templar over a Sorcerer, but I would definitely not go for a Knight play or a Dragon Knight if I'm going to be playing a healer. And I would go for either Breton or High Elf. Now, if I am going to play a Sorcerer, I would probably go for Breton. Okay, let me put it this way. If I'm going to be playing a Sorcerer that's going to be healing for sure and not DPSing at all, I would definitely go for Breton, because I am guessing that the reduction from the reduction that you take from the Magica Mastery is going to be stacking even higher with the reduction that you're going to be taking from Dark Magic, was it? Yeah. That's why. I would go for a High Elf Sorcerer if I was going to be DPSing sometimes, also because of the passive that a High Elf has to elemental damage. Now, I would go for either one as a Templar. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. My character is playing on light armor. It's a Templar, and it's a High Elf. That's all information I can give. I'll be showing the skills that I will be using on endgame content on a next video, I would say. All right, I'm getting tired. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope some of the information was informative, as I always say, and I hope that you enjoyed it if that's the case. See you next time.